Days ago, Mr. Aliko Dangote has been reacting to the allegations in some quarters that product, especially of diesel, coming out of the refinery are substandard. He also was speaking to the allegations of being taking monopoly of the industry. And he said that some of his friends who had warned him about investing in Nigeria are now laughing at him, is now a laughing stock amongst his friends and folks in the business world. Let me allow you to listen again to part of what Mr. Aliko Dangote, a foremost Nigerian industrialist, is saying in the wake of all of this saga.
Another complaint that I had, which I think the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker also raised with me, said, okay, why did we drop the price of diesel when we started? We drop it from, is it the bad quality we are producing or what? I said that no. Even at the 650 ppm and 700 ppm that we are producing was a better quality than what was imported. And I'm sure, Your Excellency, sir, most of you have problems with their vehicles. Either you have had or you are still having problems with their vehicles. It's because of the bad fuel that we're importing into the country. I still stand by what I said.
All right. That is part of what Mr. Dangote has said. In fact, he somewhat opened some can of worms when he alleged that some officials of the NNPCL are involved in some production backdoor in Malta. Well, we're getting some reaction, of course, from the MD and the group chief executive officer of the NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari. Let me give you an understanding of some of what Mr. Mele Kyari has said today in a statement that he pushed out, denying any kind of ownership or partnership in any kind of backdoor production of any product in faraway Malta. Let's get Mr. Falana to react to some of these issues. What do you think is going on really in these whole matter? There are a lot of conversations around why this kind of treatment is being meted on Dangote, the 20% stake of the federal government in that investment. And now the fact that Mr. Dangote is saying that he's willing to sell off his shares in that investment. What do you make of that?
Well, I've enjoyed the intra-class feud, or what you might call a dog-eat-dog affair. But it's at the expense of the country. And we cannot continue like this. A government cannot go around the world asking for foreign investment only to be accused of destroying local investment. It's very dangerous for the country. It is so embarrassing that we are telling the whole world that the government of Nigeria is so incapable to manage this affair that one person is monopolizing trade in our country. What is the purpose of the government? Is to checkmate any monopolistic control of any business in Nigeria. But what do you call a monopoly? If you have allowed your own refineries to be destroyed, what happens? Somebody now decides to have a refinery. That's a monopoly. What? There's nothing you can do about it. I thought what the government should be doing now. I've allocated $1.5 billion for the revitalization of the Port Harcourt refinery and $1.4 billion for the revitalization of the Warri and Kaduna refinery. The government should stop postponing the days of commencement of business in these refineries. The government should be in a hurry to get those refineries to work and compete with the Dangote Refinery. How can a government go out and say a factory in my country is producing a bad product, bad fuel? What are you doing as a government about it? Why are you allowing Dangote to saturate the market with bad diesel? Very soon, bad PMS. So the ones you are bringing from foreign countries, the fuel you bring from foreign countries, adulterated fuel, foul fuel, destroying vehicles in our country. The government is helpless. Sometimes the government, we are going to set up a panel to deal with those who are bringing bad fuel to the country. At the end of the day, the government will not do anything. Now, what is this whole debate about? have been very critical of the equity, the shares allocated to Nigeria in the Dangote Refinery in May 2021. The Federal Executive Council directed NNPCL to take a loan of $2.67 billion to acquire 20% shares in the Dangote Refinery for Nigeria. I have criticized that figure by saying we must quantify the contribution of the country to the refinery, only to be told now that our 20% shares have been reduced to 7.2% by the NNPC, albeit illegally, because the NNPCL does not have the power to overrule the decision of the Federal Executive Council under the current political dispensation. So where do we go from here? It is for the government to go back to the drawing table. If there are problems with the Dangote Refinery, you must sit down. But if you don't have a laboratory, you can't say that fuel is bad or diesel is bad. You must take it to your laboratory. And where is that laboratory located? We must know it. 2, you must now stop this childish, very puerile argument about, oh, somebody wants a monopoly. It's not the business of the government. And that's why you have the Federal Consumer Protection Commission to deal with anybody who wants to maintain a monopoly in business in the country. Now, the government must go back to the drawing table. If a factory is likely to employ 500,000 people, young people, the government must try and embrace that company and see what can be done. But for me, I'm not interested in the argument whether Dangote wants to compete or not, or whether he wants the government to give him a special dispensation. My own position is, and the NNPCL must address this problem. Since the 70s, that they ran the refineries at grand, the country's refineries are grand. 445,000 barrels dedicated to domestic consumption. Please go and refine it. The 445,000 barrels should be refined in the Dangote Refinery, so that this shame of an oil-producing country, and Nigeria is the only one, the only oil-producing country that imports petroleum products. When we had no refineries, we were exporting crude oil. Now that we are having refineries, we are also exporting, we are importing crude oil to be refined in Nigeria. This shame must stop. These guys have their own intra-class problems. They should solve them and stop exposing the country to unbelievable ridicule before the whole world. So for me, I mean, the arguments of the government are rather jejune. And the government, President Bola Tinubu must call these guys to order, who are embarrassing the country by saying a company is so powerful in Nigeria that is producing bad fuel and we are taking the product. So it's not acceptable. So let's get say that when you have a government.
Yeah, I'm worried. My worry is very. The reason for my worry is this. First, we heard this seems to be the entrance into the frustration of Mr. Aliko Dangote in all of this. He first and foremost raised an alarm over the hurdles from the IOCs in getting product into the refinery. Later on, there were issues as to the stakes. Afterwards, there are issues as to the allegations and the kind of push and pushbacks coming from the regulators within the industry. So one will ask the question, if Mr. Dangote has come forward to say, hey, I have a problem. He's supposed to be one of the biggest refineries globally out in the world. In fact, the biggest that we can see in Africa, not only serving Nigeria, the largest, I would say. Now, and he's complaining that IOC are frustrating me. Again, he's come out to say, look, what is causing all of this is officials of the NNPCL who are blending some of these products through the back door in Malta. Mr. Falano, what do you see?
I am saying Nigeria has a stake in the Dangote Refinery. For me, it must go beyond the 20%. And if anybody has surcharged the country, shall change the country because of their own refinery outside the country.
But Mr. Falana, maybe you are referring to a news that is now still, that stake is now questionable. Because we do not even know. We were hoping that the government will come out to tell us how much is the stake, what is the percentage of the stake, because at some point we are hearing that, in fact, maybe there are no stakes any longer, the stakes have been reduced, and all manner of stories that are coming out.
Who reduced the stake? I am saying we are entitled to more than 20% in Dangote Refinery. So the government must not regard this as a Dangote affair. We have a stake there. Secondly, we must get the EFCC and the ICPC to investigate the allegation made by Mr. Dangote that these guys have a plant in Malta against the interests of Nigeria. Money stolen from Nigeria, money criminally diverted from Nigeria to set up the plant. So we must get to the root of that allegation. Furthermore, all the controversies, all the arguments about bad fuel and so on and so forth with respect to the Dangote Refinery must stop, because these are embarrassing to the people of Nigeria. What Nigerians want is an immediate end to fuel importation, and not that importers will continue to dominate our country. So I'm happy that Mr. Dangote is learning now what some of us have been saying over the years. The IOCs control the country up to today. They do not allow the country to know how much oil that is produced. So they have frustrated the country from having meters, to install meters in all our fuel stations. They have made it impossible. They have also refused, these IOCs, to build a refinery in the country since the 70s. And the government has not had the courage to challenge them. These IOCs are so powerful to the extent that they are owing the country $62 billion from their failure to pay certain royalties for 18 years. The Supreme Court ordered the federal government go and collect the money. The Attorney General then, Mr. Abubakar Malami, said, wrote to them. Another minister, Mr. Silva, came out to say, no, this is not possible. We cannot collect such huge money, but we may have to negotiate with them. Okay, what has your negotiation yielded?
Yeah, Mr. Falana, we are out of time now.
As a former governor of Rivers, and Mr. Emmanuel went to court to say, federal government, if you are not taking this money, we want our own stake, we want our share, and the Federal High Court gave them judgment that you are entitled to $3.1 billion.
Mr. Falana,
we'll have an explanation on that. So these guys are very powerful.
A lot to learn.
Mr. Dangote has just discovered that now.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm worried.
Of our country.
I would love to have gotten your response on Mr. Dangote's position to say maybe he's going to sell off his shares, and what this means when we've seen some foreign investors who say they're packing up and going back to their base, their HQ, and we're one who's worried the implication of this to FDI, foreign direct investment, and those who are looking to Nigeria for investment in the moment that we need production. I just have 20 seconds to go, Mr. Falana. What would be your final word on this?
I'm opposed to, foreign investment. I want Nigeria investment. And nobody is going to invest in this economy if you are frustrating your own nationals who are investing in your country. So the government has a duty to protect local investors, to encourage local investors and promote local investment so that our people can take control of our national economy, which is not the case now.
Mr. Falana, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. For the life of me, I don't know how I feel right now. I feel so bitter. I feel so angry. I feel so disappointed that our nation's so blessed. Are we going to blame God that there are no natural disasters? And I mean, we have oil deposit and all of these natural resources under the ground. There is no excuse for our nation to be very big, but yet it does look like human beings are the major problem of our country. We have so much oil.